Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to Generation Red. Look, we're here the morning after Salford. We're beaten 3-1 by bottom of the league, who haven't scored a goal in 4 games, Newport County. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was an absolute mess. It kind of reminded me of the back end of Neil Wood's tenure at Salford. Now, I'm not going to say Carl Robinson's obviously going to get the job because I think he is the right man for the job. I'm actually a big fan of Carl Robinson and, he's done wonders with the team. But why I say it reminds me of Neil Wood, we just had plan A. We had plan A, stick the ball long and hopefully let someone gets on the end of it. This time, though, we don't have a giant of Matt Smith to get on the end of the ball. And we had no plan B. We had no plan B. It was literally lump it long, lump it long, lump it long. Now, I've seen fans saying the pitch was a bit of a mess, so this is what we had to resort to. But for me, that's absolutely no excuse.
We mustn't forget that it's been raining, so the pitch is quite...
It's been raining?
Yeah.
Are you being serious? It's raining for both teams.
Yeah, I've seen Carl's post-match interview where he says Salford were on the front foot. We created some brilliant chances going forward. And I'll be honest, I don't remember many. I don't remember many chances. I think we had 3 shots on target all game. We were on the front foot. We were the team pressing. But Newport defended really well, similar to the way we did with Man City. They held a low block for so long in the game. They were compressed, and they beat us on the counter every single time. We didn't look like we knew what to do with it. Now, if you were at the game, the first thing you'd notice is Salford just didn't look like they kicked off for the first 10, 15 minutes. Until the goal went in, we didn't really look like we were at the game. Newport wasn't doing anything special, but they were passing. We were so sloppy in the first, all game, to be honest, but the first 20 minutes, especially in that final third, we just couldn't string a ball together. And we got punished for it with Ryan Delaney jumping up and headering the ball into the back of the net from a set piece. Now, if you actually look at this set piece, there's so many things that go wrong here. First of all game, when we get this in League 2, a lot of pushing and shoving in the box on a set piece because referees don't necessarily penalise players for it. But if you actually watch this, it's Matt Butcher and Dan Udo who kind of take their eye off the ball and run into each other, which allows Delaney that space to leap over the top and put the ball into play. Rather than Butcher, who it looks like he's marking him first, saying mine or claiming that ball, him and Udo actually sort of come together, which allows Delaney that space to jump it and head the ball. Now, the second observation when I'm watching this is look at Garbutt. Now, the second observation, what could have been better for me when I'm watching this, Garbutt is on the back post. That's where he needs to be in this one. But his attention diverts and it becomes stopping the player from being on the goalkeeper. This is a thing we see a lot of times in football at the minute. But if Garbutt's on that back post, he blocks that ball on the line and clears it 9 times out of 10. But this pushing and shoving in the box creates the space there for Delaney to jump up. Udo and Butcher come into each other. Delaney's up, and it's an easy header into that far corner. Now, straight off the back of the goal, it looked like Salford woke up for a couple of minutes. We did manage to control possession pretty much through the game, but it was too often that the ball was just lateral. It just failed to break any sort of lines. Every time we were playing it deep, it was intercepted. Newport defended really well, and I can't really knock them for it. They were compact, they were deep, and it was pretty similar to the way we set up against Manchester City. It forced us to play sideways. We didn't really get anything going, and when we did try to break forward, it was a long ball over the top, and that seems to be the only option we had. Pump that ball long, and it doesn't work for us. Ryan Graydon is a brilliant player at bringing the ball down. Dan Udo, for me, I know I've heard a lot of fans giving him a bit of rubbish over the last few weeks saying he's not doing it, but I don't think we're utilising Dan Udo the way he plays football. He's not a player that's going to be bringing the ball down in the air. If that's the way we're going to start playing football, for me, stick Cole Stockton in there. Big lad, brings the ball down well, use him as a link-up player. Udo's not that type of player. We need to be putting that ball half a yard in front of Udo, letting him run through. He's a bit of a bulldozer. He'll punch through defences. He's got fantastic control, and he can distribute the ball out, but he can finish. But if we're just firing balls over the top and expecting him to run onto the end of him all the time, when you're playing against 2 giant centre-backs, it's never going to work. Same with Kelly and Mai. We're pumping the ball over the top to Kelly and Mai. I'm 5'3". I'm never winning an header over a 6'2" defender, it's just never going to happen. As good as Kelly is, we're not playing into our players' strengths. Graydon, for me, fantastic. But I think he's been an absolute sensational signing in January. Graydon's brilliant at reading the game. He turns on a 50p and he can cut through them channels, but we're just playing long balls over to him. And I feel like that's going to be the theme of this episode. It's just long ball football. Nobody wants to see it. I can understand Newport doing it, right? Because they've got Baker Richardson up top. Big, tall lad. He's strong. He can hold the ball. And the wingers running off him work really well. We don't have that option unless we're going to play Cole Stockton up top. If we play Cole Stockton up top, we had Matt Smith under Neil Wood who could bring the ball down or tap it in at the back post with a giant header. We've not got that anymore. We've got players who are good at playing football on the pitch. George Grant, for example, for me, when he was substituted on, our game changed. The ball was on the floor and we were actually looking to play a bit more football. And that's where the goal come on to, which I'll lead into shortly. From Salford standards, if you look at Newport's second goal, it's just a mess all around in it. It's a long ball from the goalkeeper. Their players unopposed. No one puts a challenge in. No one goes up for the ball. Kadeem Harris is about 2 meters away from him and there's no pressure there, which gives him a chance to flick the ball and over the top. It's another flick on again, unchallenged, unopposed. We know where that ball's going. Someone's got to be putting a challenge in there or attempting to win it, because once he gets that flick on, that's when it's in a dangerous area. And unfortunately, Turton tries to clear it, miskicks it. Ben Lloyd runs through and taps it past on it. It's just a bit of a mess of a goal. Hadji nearly gets there at the back post to slide it away, but it's just a massively avoidable goal. It was poor all around, just everything. I think Turton obviously needs to do better there, but I understand why he's tried to play it out to the left rather than back to Matty Young, because if he misplaces the power on the pass, the striker's through and can finish it either way, can't he? But obviously he's tried to play it out wide. He's miscontrolled it. It's bounced under him. And Lloyd's been there to tuck it away. Now, 2-0 down. One of the main things I said, especially to Miles and Stroy, who was watching the game with, was the players looked a bit shell-shocked by it. They were celebrating Newport, and all the Salford players were just kind of looking at each other going, like, who's to blame here? What is going on? Obviously, Turton's head's in his hands. You can tell he knows he's made a mistake there, and he's apologising to the lads, which is fair enough. It happens in a game of football, and when you play in a centre-back position, a mistake costs you a goal, doesn't it? So you can't hold him too heavy on that, because there was 3 or 4 mistakes leading up to that. That ball should not be getting into that position without being unchallenged 3 or 4 times. But it's happened, hasn't it? What I will say after this goal, Salford kind of grew a little bit more into the game. We started getting the ball on the ground for 4 or 5 minute spells. And when we wasn't lock-picking Newport's defence, we were just lumping it long again, and it just didn't work. Newport's defence, they didn't rush out. They were happy to soak up the pressure, and once they got it, they put it out to the wings. If we look at their third goal, again, when you initially watch it, you do go, that's poor again. But if you actually look at it, when the ball comes over the top, it's a lovely touch by Lloyd. He manages to touch it back on the inside of Guards, which throws Guards his weight off. He's then got to adjust his body position. But when it's right in front of the goalkeeper, you've not got time to do that. But it's a lovely first touch, cuts it back inside, and then it's just a square and a pocket who finishes and makes it 3-0. Don't know. We've only about 20 minutes to go. But what can we say from there? I think, like I say, when Grant came on, we all knew the game was done. But there was still a weird sense of, if we can get a goal now, Salford could be back in this, because we was all over them. Newport didn't really threaten us. I think they had 3 shots and scored 3 goals, which says everything. But when you're playing teams at this level, especially teams that are fighting to survive, they are going to play a lot tighter, a lot more compressed, and hit you on the counter. Salford have done it that year when we was nearly relegated. We were doing it very well with Matt Smith. We were condensed. We were holding the ball, pumping it long. Matt Smith was headering. We're too good of a team to do that now, and I think we've completely shown that. Now, for Salford's goal, lovely finish for Ben Woodburn. I can't show you this because I can't find the footage of it, because obviously the highlights only show you a few little things. But for me, it's no surprise the goal came from 5 or 6 on the ground passes. We were passing it around, and by passing it around, what it did was it opened up Newport what we should have been doing, in my opinion, rather than pumping it long. Sorry, I keep saying it, but pumping it long. Newport just knew what they were doing. They were compact. Right, that ball's going to come long. Let's just head it out, try and get it out to our wingers, get a goal on the counter. This goal came from literally George Grant picked it up, and I can't remember the players involved, but it was about 5 or 6 passes along the ground before it went out to Ross. Ross swung it in. Obviously, their defender heads it out. Woodburn, absolute rocket finish into the bottom corner. Beautiful goal from Woodburn. But that's what I think Salford needs to be playing like, and we all see it every week. Man City on Saturday, obviously, I was talking to fans outside the game and going, how can we play against Man City like this? It's a completely different game, and it's a completely different game. Lads are up for it. Obviously, we're playing back-to-back games at the moment, so Man City is just a different game all around. This is a team who could potentially go from being in the Football League to out the Football League. They've got a lot more to play for. If City go out the Carabao Cup, are they bothered? If they go out the FA Cup, are they bothered, really? They're fighting for the Champions League and the Premier League at the minute. This is fight or flight for Newport. It's a lot more intense of a game. Newport are happily to sit there. City always knew they were going to score at some point because of the quality they've got. Newport have to score. That's the difference. But what I will say is the City game especially, we weren't just long ball football. We were playing with the ball on the ground. We were looking calm. And I've seen it so many times this season. Ball on the floor, moving it round. We've got George Grant in there, who's fantastic at moving that ball. Like I say, Ryan Graydon running through them channels. Dan Udo, for me, it's easy to see why he isn't performing at the level we know he can perform, because we're not playing to his strengths. We're just firing the ball at him. Get it into his feet, lay it off him so he can run onto it. That's where he comes into his strength. Like I say, we're just going to play long ball, stick Stockton there. Let Stockton bring the ball down. People will drag Stockton, they'll bring him to the floor because he's a big lad. Just let him hold it. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting a 40 a season goal scorer, but if that's the way we're going to play football, let's utilize the players we've got that can play that kind of way. Now, what does this loss mean for Salford? I've seen fans saying, oh, we might as well write playoffs off and yada, yada, yada. I'm not worried. Look, it's we play 48 games a season without the cups. A lot of football is left to be played. Newport, for me, was an important 3 points because the run we've got coming up isn't easy. We've got some really difficult away games coming up as well. If we are going to stick around this sort of playoffs, auto sort of area, we need to start picking points up against teams we should be picking 3 points up. Obviously, teams like Newport have to win. That's the big difference. We might pick up 3 points where we don't play well against teams in the middle of the table who are safe, but they're also not going to go up. Season's not got much left to play for. But when we are playing these sort of Newport County teams, the teams at the bottom, Accrington, again, done us with the same thing, long ball over the top, not working. What's plan B? What can we revert to here to make sure this ball goes in the back of the net? And keep the ball out of our net. That's the main one, isn't it? Keep the ball out of our net. If we're playing these teams that are just sitting in a low block, we should be expecting them to break out and try and counter us. But I'm not worried. It wasn't a great performance. It was probably one of the worst performances I've seen at Salford. I know we can say, oh, the grass wasn't great and all this rubbish, but let's be honest, it just wasn't a great performance all round, was it? But we write it off. We go again next week. We have got a difficult run of games coming up. That's my only worry now. I think if we are going to get playoffs or autos this season, this is where Salford need to now kick in gear. You've had your City game. We've had a loss. 2 losses back-to-back in the league now, by the way. This is where we need to fix it now. What can we do to fix it? Let's start using our players to their strengths and really start pushing on and putting the ball in the back of the net, putting the pressure on teams. Teams that want to play long ball, but we play it on the ground. Right, the next 5 games for Salford, like I say, are not easy ones. We've got Cheltenham Town on the road on Saturday. We've also got Shrewsbury on Tuesday at home. Colchester away. Grimsby Town away, which will be a difficult game as they've just refound a little bit of form after sort of going a bit pants over the Christmas period. And then we've got Barnet at home. A couple of teams fighting for playoffs there. A couple of teams fighting for autos as well. Shrewsbury look like they've just hit a little bit of form as well. So difficult games, big 3 points coming in. We've also got Walsall coming up the week after that. So difficult run for Salford, but let me know what you think. Have we got all the gear and no idea? Or is it just a blip in a 48-game a season run for Salford? And League One run is still on. Click subscribe, drop a like. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll see you on the next one.